Back again. It's like 7 a.m. Beautiful Wednesday. Wednesday here in Palo Alto. This week's going by quick because we had Memorial Day on Monday. Gotta wait for my roommate to get ready so I can pick up a burrito at his work. So we're doing a little walk to start this beautiful day out. Woke up this morning, didn't have much on my mind, but I had a little inspiration drop in. A couple of days ago I was reading Mark. Actually, I think this was in Matthew. And it was talking about, it was Jesus out preaching, doing miracles. And he comes across a child. He tells the disciples basically to be like this child. I was thinking about that this morning when I was getting ready. Because one thing I noticed, I think I talked about this with some of my friends over a year ago, is that every year that passes by, you just see that child dissipate for a lot of people. Maybe just a little bit of it at a time, but slowly goes away. I know there's some perspectives on or not perspectives, there's scientific research, and there's the brain plasticity. And I know as you get older, your plasticity decreases, and you basically adopt the identity you've created for yourself. It becomes harder and harder to drop that identity. And I think for men, that evens out around 26. It becomes harder to reverse. But we're here to reverse it. But anyways, you notice in high school, people are excited. I mean, even going before that, think about middle school. You're just like a little kid running around. Everything's exciting. You can be an NBA player, and you take that seriously. And you have this great journey in all the little things you do. For me, I wanted to be an NBA player. Me and my friend Jack took it really seriously. We're in middle school at the time. But the fact that we had that play, that joy, and had that belief, we're willing to go after it, is what created the whole journey. You fast forward to high school, my friends and I were obsessed with building things, obsessed with entrepreneurship. I was always very intrigued by people who seemed to take some sort of different path. And I would just reach out to them, ask the most basic of questions. What did you do? How did you get started? Why do you do what you do? And there's this curiosity for everything. But then you start to get to college, and the consequences start to get more real. You realize, if I don't have X GPA, then maybe I'll have a tougher time getting a job. Or especially when junior and senior year come around, and then you're searching for a job, you don't know if you'll have one. You start comparing to other people around you. I know for me, came from a or I'm in a more competitive space, tech, right? And I see it with all my friends, all the people around, where it's like you need to have the highest paying job amongst your friend group. I remember a tidbit of a podcast. I forget what the name of the podcast was. Just talking about how people, I guess it's like a Warren Buffett principle he'd talk about, but like people compare in little bubbles. So people will compare to the people around them, even if they just take a step back, look at the entire market and see that there's maybe kids their age making millions of dollars, perhaps billions of dollars now. And so then the whole idea of comparing to the people right around you monetarily doesn't even make any sense. But it's this natural tribal tendency humans have. But anyways, people start comparing in college. You want to get this job, so you start doing everything for that job. And basically this whole entire like curiosity, this play, this joy, doing things purely out of interest just goes away. And it's interesting because I feel like going back to talking to successful people who have taken unconventional paths, and then when you listen to their stories, it's often like they didn't lose touch with that play. And that what drove them a lot of the times was that interesting, just finding whatever they were doing interesting, being curious, having that inner child to pursue it and not automatically shoot themselves down or chase something else that society just puts on a platter for them to go after. And so obviously you get older, you have more responsibilities. You can't drop responsibilities. But there's always so much time in the day. If you don't have the time, it means your priorities just aren't in place. You're prioritizing something else. And you can prioritize quite a lot and still have time to do something in the day, or at least throughout the week. And so even if you do have a ton of responsibilities, like finding ways to get in touch with that play, just to do something out of interest. And hopefully getting to a point, it kind of goes with the last video of just like being in this playful state in general. I think one of the key elements to it is just totally dropping any awareness or concept of time and pressure. Rick Rubin talked about this he talks about it in his book, and he also talks about how when he worked with a lot of artists, he would often like talk about getting into this zone where you literally just forget about time. Like you don't have like an end time during the day when you got to finish something. At certain parts of the process, setting like a due date is really helpful because then it just forces you to get over the edge of not being able to just stop working on something because you continuously and always see the imperfections in it. At some point you just got to stop, and that's where due date comes into play. But when it comes to the day by day work, getting into this zone where there's literally no time in your mind, he talks about that, and for me that's been incredibly helpful. You just zone out of the world and you just become in this flow state, giving your best work because you're not worried about doing something by some time. You're able to go down all these different rabbit holes, explore things to their fullest, and bring out whatever the best work you can put together is. But it's hard to do. I'm still figuring that out. naturally our minds want to go. Always think about the next thing. Always set a time. So getting out of that cycle is extremely difficult. But if a flow state was easy, everyone would be in it all the time. That's why they say chasing the flow state. So that's what we're going to do here today. Try to forget about time, lock in, build, do some great work. But it all comes back to being a child, being childlike, being playful, looking at everything around you as positive, as beautiful. So I will talk to you guys soon.